in this particular session, we're going to go over a realistic, and I capitalize realistic because sometimes we don't reach our career goals because we don't have a realistic assessment of those career goals. So we're going to go over that, a realistic assessment, just pretty much where you are now, you being able to determine where you are now, and then determining where you want to be in 1 year. This is the perfect time to do that. Usually, it's the beginning of the year. A lot of people are working on their New Year's resolutions. Some people have already given up on their New Year's resolution, but it's a perfect time to start working towards career goals, but not just writing them on a piece of paper, but determining where you want to be in a year and then mapping out how exactly you're going to reach those career goals. Because just having a career goal, determining where you want to be, is going to be absolutely useless unless you know how you're going to get there. Now, before we get started, I just want to talk about barriers to success. And these particular factors came from an article, and here's the link here. You'll get the slides afterwards, so you can go to this link. It was on Forbes, and it discussed some different factors of why people failed in their career. And those factors were doing the wrong things, like what they were doing was not conducive to reaching their career goals. There's a lot of things that fall into that particular category of doing the wrong thing. Let's say, for instance, you want to be promoted in your firm, you want to become the paralegal manager, and you're spending all your time doing secretarial type stuff because you want to show that you are helpful to, a managing attorney or management. So you're doing a lot of doing, but it's secretarial type stuff. As a paralegal, in order to be promoted into a paralegal management position or a management position, secretarial stuff, you have to show your value in what you're trying to achieve. So if your goal is to achieve a paralegal management position, it would be wiser to spend your time showing your value in that particular area. So maybe volunteering for, working overtime on specific cases or whatever the case may be, legal research, whatever that is, but paralegal related tasks. So doing the wrong things is one barrier to success and a reason for a career failure. Another is just giving up too soon. A lot of times things get difficult. It's difficult. Success is not easy. Any article you read, any book you read, any career coach, any class you take and makes you believe that success is easy. Somebody's going to wave a magic wand over you and you're going to be successful, or you're going to even get a degree and be successful, is fooling you. Because even when you get a degree, that doesn't necessarily say that you're going to be successful. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of effort. So a lot of people don't reach their career goals because they give up too soon. Because when things get difficult, they give up. And if you cannot navigate through difficulty, and if you don't know how to deal with difficult times coming up, whether those difficult times is dealing with office politics, dealing with a manager that you don't like or doesn't like you, or whatever the case may be, giving up and allowing those things to get in your way of being successful will result in failure. And another is confusing a career and a calling. Now, this particular article may explain it in a different way. I just looked on there, and this is a person, her name is Kathy Caprino, that wrote the article, so you can read more about that. But when I initially looked at these reasons, I was like, yes, this is it. This is right on. Confusing a career and a calling. We have callings to be different things in our life. Calling sometimes may result, sometimes it results in those volunteer type stuff. Some people can do both. Sometimes a career and a calling is the same. Your calling and your career is going to be the same thing. Those are those people a lot of times counselors, clergymen, their career and their calling is the same. I don't know what the statistics is how many people are actually, their career and calling is the same, but when that is confused, then the necessary steps are not taken to make your career a success. Being able to differentiate between the two. and the other is too scared to stretch. Being successful requires risk. If you don't take any risk, if you don't stretch yourself, you will not be successful, period. Because it may require, let's say, for instance, you want to go back to school to get your degree. But you may be working a full-time job and maybe even have more than full-time responsibility. So you may be telling yourself, I don't have time to do this. How am I going to finish this? And you may keep yourself in your comfort zone and not stress yourself to say, okay, you know what, this is what I want. This is how I'm going to commit myself to it. Therefore, that means maybe I have to stay up late at night. And I'm just speaking of this from experience. When I've worked pretty much I'm working on my 4th degree now, my master's. I'll be finished with my master's in paralegal studies probably within the next month or two. And I can say from experience, I worked on pretty much full time the whole way through getting all of my degrees. I stayed some nights, I may have gotten 3 hours of sleep and then had to get up in the morning and go to work. So it was really difficult. But I had to stretch myself, to push myself, to stay focused and to stay on that path. Even though it got difficult, there was times I wanted to quit, numerous times. Even in the program I'm in now, I'm almost finished now, and the counselor, she had to talk me through it. And I was like, I just need a break. I can't, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this anymore. I need a break. And she actually talked me through and was like, okay, if you do that, then this is going to be this is going to be the consequence of you putting this off. I think it just try, to do your best and finish. And thank God I listened to her, because now I'm at the end. But it was difficult and I stretched myself. And so that's just coming from my own experience. So anyone that, tells you it's going to be easy, if you go in not understanding that you're going to have to stretch yourself and unwilling to stretch yourself, then you will not be successful. So now, once you determine where you are, an assessment is being able to determine where you are right now. What are those? And that basic step is to determine barriers to success. Where do you fit in with those barriers? Are you in your comfort zone and you're staying in your comfort zone? Do you have unrealistic expectations of where you want to be? Are you doing the wrong things? Are you mixing up a calling with a career? Once you determine those barriers, then you're on your way to being able to map out your career goal. So first, you want to determine, where do you want to be? What do you want? Is it that you want a promotion? You want to make more, and promotion not meaning necessarily making more money. Promotion, sometimes you may be making the exact amount of money that you're making, but you're promoted to a senior level position or a higher position. So do you want a promotion? Is it more money that you're looking for? Do you want to complete a degree? Is it another job altogether? Are you switching? You may be switching from a different field. You may be switching maybe from a legal secretary to a paralegal. You might be switching from a legal specialist into a office legal administrator, whatever that may be. Do you want another job? Is it more job responsibilities that you want? Maybe you're in a position where you're doing clerical functions and you want to do more substantive legal tasks. Or maybe you want less job responsibilities. Maybe you're at your time in your life, maybe you just had a baby, or maybe you just got married, or maybe you just want to spend more time with your family, so you want less job responsibilities. Or are you looking for a leadership position in a paralegal association? Or maybe work-life balance. You just want to be able to balance what's on your plate between work and career. You could want something as simple as just wanting better equipment, because maybe the computer you're working on or the software is outdated. It's taking you forever to get things done, and you know that you could do your job better if you had better equipment. Or maybe, and I put a question mark after this because sometimes this falls into that category of unrealistic expectation. Maybe you just want new coworkers. You want to be in a new department, and maybe that department is the only department in your firm, and you have no intention on leaving, but you just don't want to be in that particular area, or whatever the case may be. Or you want a new manager. Maybe you and your manager don't get along. Now, I put a question mark here because this might be unrealistic. If you want to stay where you're at and your coworkers are causing you issues, or a coworker or a manager, or you're the manager and you have some employees that are being difficult, sometimes this could be remedied, sometimes not. So you have to assess that and determine if that's a realistic goal or not. And then finally, mapping out your career success. The barriers, once you determine that, you're on your way. But mapping, even if you're traveling, let's say, for instance, you're somewhere just, doing a hiking trip. They always tell you have to know where you are, locate yourself. Where are you? Because once you locate yourself, then you can determine what direction you want to go in. If you don't properly, and when I say assess where you are, if you don't correctly and realistically assess where you are, you will go the wrong way. You will make the wrong moves because you don't know where you're at. And so therefore, you don't know where you need to go, what direction you need to go in. So accurately locate where you are. Where are you in your career? Where are you? Are you in a position, let's say you have because as a paralegal, you don't have to have a degree. You can have been working at your firm or as a paralegal for years and have become a paralegal just based off of your experience and may be great at it, but something you may just have that desire to have a degree. Or you may go and work for a corporate company which may require a degree for maybe a higher level position. So you have to accurately locate where you are, because let's say, for instance, with that example I just gave, to where you have a lot of experience. You have a lot of experience as a paralegal, but let's say you realize it's time for you to move on and go somewhere else. Or let's say you're just eyeing a position at a corporate company. A lot of positions or government, they'll require before they allow you to become a manager or a higher, let me say a VP role, they'll require you to have a degree. So you can have all of the experience, but if you don't have that, you may not be able to get where you're going. So accurately locating yourself is to understand that you may be a great paralegal, you may have all the experience you need, but you may not have the education, or vice versa. You may have the education and not the experience. And then you want to determine, where do you want to be? Again, what do you want? What do you want in your career? Where do you want to be in a year? And then once you determine where you want to be in a year, break it down into little smaller increments, 3-month time spans. And then ask yourself, do you have what's needed to get there? That can mean a variety of different things, just depending on what your career goal is. Do you have the energy? Meaning, if you are working full time, if you're a parent, or you're someone, or you're married and that requires time, and now you want to go to school, do you have the time? Now, if you want to accomplish that goal and you determine that you don't have the time, then what that's going to require you to do is to rearrange some things so that you will free up that time so that you can accomplish that goal. Then determine, how long will it take? How long will it take you to get that degree? How long will it take you to be, and sometimes it's difficult, like being promoted, that might not be realistic in determining, or not realistic, it may be difficult to determine how long it will take, but sometimes you can determine that based off of, in your company or in your organization or in your firm, if you've seen other people promoted, how long did it typically take them while they, in that particular position or in that firm before they were promoted? And then based off of that, you can make an assessment and, and determine how long it would typically take for you to reach there. When you're working on something like a degree or a certificate, or even something like assessing or redefining your position, if you're trying to have more responsibilities or less responsibilities, then it's pretty much just, a lot of that's going to be dependent on you and your ability to take those necessary steps to do it. And then what will it take? What will it take as far as, do you need to work more overtime? If you're trying to get promoted, you have to work more overtime. Do you need to start being involved in pro bono activities? Or do you need a degree? Do you need a certification? Do you need an ABA approved certificate? What will it take to get there? So mapping out your career success is determining those factors that will allow you to get where you want to be. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. That's just, again, just a quick, the power breaks are meant to be quick, short during, your break, lunch break or rest break, just to provide some information to help with specific areas that relate to a paralegal career. And so I hope this was helpful. The slides will be available afterwards, and any resources will be available also. You receive an email. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me now. I'm going to open up some time right now for questions, or you can send an email to info@prainmakers.com, or go to the website, trainmakers.com, and you can start a live chat session if you have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up now for any questions that you might have. Feel free to type those in the chat box.